So yeah, hi everyone. Welcome to Way to Automation. So we're going to start the session. I would be requesting everybody to be on mute unless you have something to speak, because it might disturb others. Okay. So I hope this is one of the most awaited sessions from us for Playwright using Python with a growing demand in the organizations, growing demand in the market. Everybody is towards. So when you talk about web automation, the first thing which comes now is are you using Playwright? Cool. So before we start with the session and everything, I would like to understand a bit about the audience which we have today. So how many of us will say that, hey, Ashish. Oh, by the way, let me introduce myself. My name is Ashish, and I have pretty much good experience in automation side of the QA technologies. So I'll be your host and your teacher for the next couple of sessions, like for all the sessions. So before we go ahead, let's understand, like, how many of us are completely new with programming languages? Completely new means they have not worked on any programming language previously. Please feel free to speak up because we need to decide the course accordingly, right? I am a person who takes everything from the scratch till the advanced, but I want all of us to be on the same page. Feel free to reply that, hey, I have no experience in programming. Please design the course accordingly. I would prefer if you guys speak up for those who are new to programming languages.
Hi Ashish, I am Sona.
Yeah, hi.
I am new to programming. Although I have worked in manual testing and I've been a business analyst, worked with multiple companies, but I've never done programming. I was always in a managerial or can be a client side role. So I really want to learn the programming and want to understand how to go about it. Like Selenium with Java is better, Selenium with Python is better. One thing I want to understand also, but I am zero at both the end. Like as to start Python or Selenium. So whatever you share your experience, I'll start working on it.
That is a very high demanding question, Sona, which you just asked. Which is better, Selenium or Java? And trust me, we're gonna start our session with the same question getting answered. So yeah, we can wait for that for a couple of minutes. Not a problem that side.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, no worries. Let's start. Let me share my screen. Just give me a minute. Mm. Just a second.
उनको मतलब होता है सिर्फ पैसों से और ये पैसों के लिए कुछ भी बोल जाते हैं और फिर उसके बाद सोचते भी नहीं कि इस चीज को मैं
I guess there is a issue. Just a minute. Is my screen visible to all of you?
Yes, it's visible.
Cool. Guys, can you please mute yourself? That would be a good help. Unless you have some questions to ask, please be muted. Okay, let's start. Let's start with a very famous question. Hello? Anyone have a question to? Okay. let's start with the very famous question which we have in our mind before joining this course. So let's talk about what is this course about. This course will be all about Python with Playwright, Python with Selenium, two different technologies. So initially we're going to start with Python. From when I talk about Python, I will be teaching it from all the way from, creating a basic hello world program to creating complex list and dictionary programs. So that is a part of this course. When you talk about Playwright and Selenium both are automation technologies. So we will be dividing the batch once we are done with Python into two different domains. Those who wants to join the Playwright section can go ahead. In that section, those who wants to join the Selenium section can go and join the Selenium one. If you have bandwidth, you are always welcome to join both. So it's like that. So whenever anybody comes as a new person, or I'll not even say a new person, I'll say whenever we start programming, so a basic question that comes to our mind is, hey, should I start with Java? Should I start with Python? Like, which is more trending nowadays? Where should I see my career in the next couple of years? Java has some more things to do which Python cannot, or Python has some more things to do which Java cannot. So we might get some answers in this course. So uh, let's go ahead and check some good features which Python supports for us. The first one which I talk about is simple and easy to learn. So when you talk about simple and easy to learn, Python is actually designed as a very, very easy language. It is more logic oriented. The programming language says that, hey, you want to do something, leave the how part, focus. So I leave that what will be the syntax, how will I write it, focus more on what are you thinking on, what is your logic to be implemented. However, when I talk about the programming language like Java, you know that, hey, I want to make a program which, calculates 2 plus 2 equals to 4, but how do I write it? If I write, hey, Java 2 plus 2 equals to 4, print it for me, will that work? The answer is straightforward, no. But if you try the same with, a Python, hey, Python, can you tell me to, just print me 2 plus 2 equals to 4? Python says, yeah, you got a great logic, man. Leave the how part on me. Just if you know English, go ahead. It is going to be a cakewalk for you. Now, when you say so, anyone have a question here? If somebody's drawing something, please don't annotate on the shared screen. Okay, thank you. Going ahead. Let's take this example. I don't think I need I need to explain here which one is Python and which one is Java. As I said in my previous example, Sona, you were new to programming language, right?
Yeah.
Which one you understand better on the screen?
Mm.
On your heart, tell me
See,
honestly.
Python better.
How
Very simple.
where have I written in Python? It could be any other programming language, right?
It can be, but you have better comparison between Python. The second
Correct.
one I've work on println, just very basic I know, so it
Yeah.
might be Python
So
only.
yeah, exactly. So if I ask you a very basic question, that's on tell me a program that how are you going to create a calculator? How will you say that, hey, Ashish, I'm just gonna, take two items. I'll add, if I click
Add,
on subtract, divide, multiply, all these
divide,
things, right?
multiply, just 4 functions will
Correct.
create.
You'll say, I know the logic, Ashish. But my problem is if I need to follow the ping box syntax, I am not sure if I can write the same thing and can go ahead in the, challenges. But if you say to write the same thing in the green box, I could definitely give it a try at least, right?
Correct.
That's where as I mentioned, Python is simple and easy to read. The main focus is on easy to read. Now, just simply reading print hello world and reading print, hey public class, hello world, public static void main args, just string args, system.out.println, hello world. Oh, no worries. Let's go ahead. Let's take one more example. So now you're not aware about anything here, but can you understand anything here? In the blue box, it says you have a list of fruits, apple, banana, cherry. And for fruits and fruits means you are just printing all the fruits in it. But when you loop the same in a different programming language, it's definitely a different experience. Let's take this one, reading a file. When you say reading a file, so you have a text file, you have an Excel file, you have a CSV file in your system. You want to read it, you want to print the output on your console, you want to print the output on your terminal. What will be your approach? Which one is it? Understanding is a different thing, but at least soothing to eyes. There is a concept called soothing to, which looks good, tastes good. Same thing. If I even make a 12th 10th class student, now 10th I'm saying a lot advanced thing. I say if I stand a 5th class student here also and I ask him to compare between these two boxes, he'll definitely pick up the mustard one and say, hey, this is 3 lines, this is I don't know what language is it. So my point of concern here is that
Sorry to disturb, Ashish. I just want to know in the Python in this code we can also handle the exception.
we'll
Which
come
code
to
is right? Sorry.
it. Can you repeat your question?
I'm just asking in the Python code which is right on the screen, we can also handle the exception in that code which is right on the left.
Definitely, you can handle everything. We'll come
Or
to the exception side later.
if
Maybe
this code handle that, sorry, I just want to know if this code handle the exception, that how we will know that we get the exception in this code.
no, we have to write it, right?
For that, I have to write another line.
Yeah, to handle an exception, you have to just try to one more extra code here, one more line. That's it.
Yeah.
For
That's
that, I
want.
have a different slide for that later. I can show you there.
Thank you.
Yep. So moving ahead, let's take the second property, interpreted language. So how many of us knows there are two types? Okay, what is a interpreter? What is a compiler? Anybody? Can anybody differentiate?
Ashish, I think interpreter is executing line by line for every code, and
Correct.
Compiler is executing the single code in one time.
Correct. So when we say about interpreter and a compiler, so interpreter is something which executes my code line by line and allow the runtime execution being there. However, when I talk about a compile time language, it's like, it gathers everything all together and then tells you, hey, you have done mistakes at point number 1, point number 2, point number X, fix them. Only then this could be handed over ahead. So Java is a compile time language. If you compile all your code, unless or until it is, error free, you cannot take it ahead. So, but that is not the case with Python. Python executes everything line by line. Any example of any other interpreting language? Anybody? HTML, you might have heard about. Yeah.
Yeah, sorry to disturb you. My question is that if Python is an interpreted language, so it means it, compile the code in line by line. But in slide, I have seen that there is no need to compile it. So how it can be an interpreted language?
So compile means a group of statements all together is checked, but interpreter checks it line by line. I'm not saying compiling line by line. I'm saying it's just executing every single statement at a point of time. However, if you talk about Java, it executes the code once the complete code is compiled. That is the difference. Let me take an example. Wait.
But I want to know that line by line, what line by line? Execution of line by line? Or
Yeah, execution line by line, I'm
so
saying.
means line by line compilation, right?
So see, compiling line by line is different thing, and you cannot compare it with compiling Java. Compiling Java is compiling the complete code at a point of time, at a single time. You're giving complete code as input to compiler. But in case of the interpreting languages, you're giving a single line to as an input to the compiler. That is the difference.
Okay.
Yes. So if I take this example, creating a simple calculator, Python says, okay, 2 numbers result. When I say it is a interpreting language, it executes line 1, it executes line 2. At line 3, at line 3, it simply, it takes the sum. But suppose you get caught an error at line 4, it will stop the execution. It will not move ahead. Okay, let's do one thing. Let's take any online Python compiler to make it more easy and understandable. I'll say A equals to 10, B equals to 20, and let's say D equals to A plus B. Print D, simple. Now I say E equals to 50 or 90, F equals to 100, and print let's say what can we do here? Okay, I'll say print E plus F. If I make a error, so right now this is a syntax error, so let me take another example for you. Let me think. Let's say E equals to a string. Simple. Now, I know if I execute this code, if you see above, what is it printing as line number 1? Print hello world. It executed it. Output is correct. The next output should be at line number 7. Print D. It prints you 30. Output is correct. Means execution started from here. It executed this. It executed till line number 7. It went to line number 8, went to line number F, executed both of them. When it came to line number 10, it says, hey, this is an error. Why is it an error? Because you cannot add a string, you cannot add an alphabet with a number. But if I would have written the same code in Java, let's say online Java compiler.
It's not taking as a string concatenation in Python.
String concatenation can only happen with string to string, right? With string to integer, not. Correct?
But
if you
in
can,
Java, it's possible, right?
I don't think so. If we can, let's try at the same time. System.out.println. If you are saying, we can say A plus 10, correct? It says A10. Maybe, yeah, correct. But when we talk about, but if you say, what is the data type? So how will we get the data type?
So unless we store the value in the data, another variable,
Yeah,
that variable is defined as a string, then
exactly.
it is a string.
Correct.
Because Java is a highly typed language and we have to declare the variable, then we have to go with the initialization.
That is
right?
yeah, correct. That is the very next difference which I will be talking about. That Python is a dynamic language, but Java is a static language. We'll come to that point. But
Okay.
One more thing, sorry to interrupt again.
Sorry?
It's like, so I was saying that in case of Python, okay, like as you mentioned, it's executing line by line. So when we execute it and then we are getting this kind of error, right?
Correct.
But in case of Java, probably this is not like giving an error. But if we are writing something,
yeah,
code
exactly.
which is going to give a error at the writing time itself only, right?
That's what I was trying to explain, but might not be the correct example to give here. So, but the intent was same. So if I say a divided by 10, I don't think so that happens in this. It should give me an error right now. Correct. It says that, hey, it is not executing it, but it has not executed the complete code at all. Like it has not even printed me hello world. But if I talk about Python Java, Python, if you divide E by F and run it, you see still the first two lines are executed. It has only erased the error for line number 10. So that is the difference between interpreting language and a compile time language is what I want to explain. Is it clear now? Yes, no, maybe, guys?
Yes. So both languages have their own merits and demerits. It's
correct.
Just whichever language we are comfortable, it's easy language.
That's the baseline, exactly. So we can never compare and say that, hey, this is better than this. It always depends upon the use case. It always depends upon that, hey, what exactly you want to use here. What is your project requirement, and you can go ahead with that specific language. But still there is a possibility that a specific programming language gives you more options as compared to any other programming language. So coming to the next point, object oriented. So Python is definitely object oriented, but at the same time, Python is a generic language. When I say Python is a generic language, right away, if you talk about Java, in Java, if you're working in a class, if I'll say in Java, if you're working in a file, Java file, in that you create a class, you create objects. But at the same time, in the same file, you cannot write generic code. If I take this example, yeah.
Before you move forward, I did not understand.
Just a minute. Guys, can you please mute yourself, whosoever is? Okay, go ahead. Who's speaking?
Sona here.
Just a minute. Surya, can you please mute yourself? I can actually mute all, but okay, I muted all. So Sona, you can please unmute yourself and speak up.
Okay, Ashish, I have one query. Just now you told based on the business requirement, we will opt for the language like Java or Python. But how would we understand like when shall we use Java or when shall we use Python? In which scenario? Basically, in which use case, which business scenario, how shall we choose?
Yeah, that is a very good question. So if you talk about that, hey, Ashish, I got a client visited me and the client gave me a project requirement. Now, on what basis should I select that, hey, I'll be working on this project as per Python or I should propose it with Java? Correct? That is the question, right?
Yes, that is the question.
That depends on multiple parameters, Sona. What parameters? Number one, if you talk about automation, as a person, you and your team are comfortable in which programming language? When I say comfortable, it means community support. Right now, if we talk about the community support for Python and Java, they are almost equal. That hey, what happens as a programmer, as a developer, you stuck somewhere at a point of time and you need help. And when you need help, you always go to Stack Overflow and check for items. Correct? That is the basic thing. The first pointer which I personally take is that the team strength, because okay, team strength is one thing. Second parameter which I will be judging on it will be the requirement of the project. Suppose my project says, hey, I want something, testing capabilities which only Java supports. When I say testing capabilities which only Java supports, you can talk about mobile automation. Right now, APM in Java is way too ahead as compared to APM with Python. You can definitely do things in Python for mobile automation, but still there are so many loopholes where the community is still working on. So you say, hey, if this is a mobile based project, straightforward shift to Java because it has a good support. It has, a lot of content available in the market where you can definitely go and check out. So that is, another parameter. If third parameter which comes, hey, my team is new, they are not so much comfortable, so should I choose Python? Should I choose Java? I would straightforward come and say, don't choose any of them. Go and select Robot Framework. Robot Framework is a programming language which supports all the product management, all the business analyst, all the non-programming person. Go ahead and select that as your base and start working on it. The fourth thing comes that you say the testing tools. Testing tools are very important. So Java supports TestNG, Python supports PyTest. PyTest has way too much more options as compared to TestNG. But PyTest is good, it's easy, but at a point of time it gets complex when you want to explore much and much. But TestNG remains same. It gives you good options and all these things. So like on these parameters only you can decide if you can take a project on Java or on Python. Anybody can definitely add on in this if you believe anything else should be there.
Any project, when we get in, most likely we are not going to build from the scratch. There is an existing team or existing work already
Definitely, yeah.
done, and we are starting our we are joining the team, and then we are going to start building things for them. Okay, so most of the time, the whether I will go with the Python or I will go with the Java, it's a kind of a if they are starting very much brand new and the organization does not have any kind of a framework or any kind of a community, then probably that's the time we will start, and that's a decision which will be done by
But
at
the
a
team,
very high level, like who are very senior leaders who will just direct the team, saying that we want to go in this direction. Okay, so the question and answer are good, but the only thing is we don't make a call.
yeah, that is more professional way of telling it, Janki. If I'm
Yes.
not wrong, like keeping in mind everyone here is just starting their career off in programming languages. So I
But it
answer.
is the in the organization when we go, we
Yeah,
are
that is
not
the
the
reality.
person who are decision makers, right? We are going to join the
I
team.
I can contradict
Most
this
of
state.
most
Yeah,
of the time, most of
correct.
the time, I'm saying we are not the decision makers, and
And
we are very much we are because of they have already lot of we are in an automation world right now. The many corporates, many
mhm,
people already have their own base thing, even
correct,
if
correct.
they have not started with that particular application as an
And
automation. Many
sometimes
things are
what
there.
happens now, like it's even if you propose a programming language to a client, the client is stubborn, no, I want to take only this. So that is also a next barrier which comes when you select a programming language to go ahead with automation. So I go and say that, hey, I want to work on Python, it's more comfortable for me and everything, but the client rejects straightforward, saying no, I am more comfortable with Java and my team is comfortable with Java. If you want to do it in Java. So again, that is another thing which you
We
cannot
will
make a
do a
call.
POC. if you all have
Exactly.
not come across, right, we'll have to do a POC, proof
Correct.
of concept.
Yeah.
And then we have to give inputs, plus and minus, and then what is viable solution and all of them at the point in time, and sustainable model as well.
Exactly.
It's just not a simple answer to say. And as I
Correct.
said, like many times, it's not that a call made by a testing team or one person. It is just done at a very senior level.
We can
Okay.
always go ahead and propose, hey, these are the strengths of this thing. These are the strengths of this thing. Now, your call. That's what happens. Chalo. it's going in a, never-ending conversation. So let's move ahead. So
Ashish,
uh,
one more thing.
yeah.
Like we have in Java compile time, polymorphism, and runtime, right? Now, when we said Python is an interpreter, so is that compile time polymorphism not supported, or is it implemented in some different way?
We'll talk. Yeah, it's implemented, but it's implemented in a completely different way. In polymorphism per se, Python has some limitations where it does not support few things. So we'll come when we discuss OOPS in detail. Yeah. Okay. Chalo. So let's move ahead. So next we say dynamic typing. What is dynamic typing? Dynamic typing, just now, as Janki also pointed out in this example, what is the very basic difference you can see? Anybody out here? What is the very basic difference you see when you write these things? It's very easy, right? I have not written anything like, hey, this is a string, hey, this is an integer. No. Python says I can decide it at the time of execution that what is the value that you are offering. If you're offering it as a string value, I'll take it as a string. If you're offering a integer value, I'll take it as an integer. If you're offering a float, decimal value, I'll take it as a float. So that is a very big difference which Python and Java makes as a thing. So right now, if I want to say a equals to 10 or 20, it will straightforward give me an error. So let me remove this line. If I execute it right now, it will go and say, hey, it is a syntax error, not even a runtime error. See, it says, hey, it's a syntax error. I don't know what is this 20, cannot find the symbol. So, but if you simply say, hey, it is an integer, you run it, nothing breaks, everything works fine. So this is called dynamic language and a static language. This is the same slide offering it. Next, I can come towards the exception handling side. As I said that Python has robust exception handling capabilities, which allows all the automators, developers to catch and handle errors. This can help us make code reliable. How do we do that? So suppose I am just making this list of square of numbers. Let me know if you guys see the screen. No. Okay. What happened? Just a minute. This is the slide. Correct. Raising an exception. Python says that, so we all are very much familiar with a zero division error. So if you try to divide any number with 0, it gives you an error saying, hey, it is not allowed, blah, blah, blah. Python and Java are very much same when you talk about exceptions. They both are having equal capabilities for, handling the different types of exceptions. They both have similar kind of exceptions. They can do the same thing. But the only difference comes is the syntax, is what I believe. That is my personal thing. I am not comparing it. So the thing where I talk about syntax, this as helps me a lot, because if there are multiple exceptions, you create alias for them. But I'm not sure if like I have not worked a lot in Java side, so I'm not sure if we do support this in Java. Maybe we would be supporting it, but might not be the same way we support it in Python. So exception handling is something which we say it's almost common for both the programming language. No big change at that side. Next, we say that Python is a high-level language. High-level language, let me directly explain it with the example, which means that we can definitely, reduce memory we can, handle memory management and garbage collection in a more better way as compared to other programming languages. So if you want to get a list of squares of number, you can write the same thing in a single line of code. In Java, no matter how much optimizations you do, you have to anyhow write more than one line of code. So which definitely makes it a bit of difficult for handling the memory. Also, Python's garbage collector is able to free the memory used by the list once it's no longer needed. But I believe Java will continue to exist it until we clear it explicitly. So this is a high level discussion. We might not
Java's garbage collection is automatic. As soon as the scope is complete and then we are not going to use that object anymore, then the garbage collector will collect it.
I believe okay, maybe right away these things might have been there, but okay, sure. At the time I used to work on these things, we were calling garbage collectors explicitly because it was no more being used. So maybe things have changed to the latest versions.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. Okay, talking about installation of Python. So I have two written this, every time in my all the batches I get a complaint, Ashish, you don't give us the proper steps of how to install Python, how to install an IDE. This time I have executed, I have written these steps. So let me directly show you. If you go to, download Python, python.org. Python has majorly categorized in, so let me give you a bit history on it. There were two versions where you could see Python. Okay. Let me write it here. There were two things where we could see that two different Python versions, I'll say two Python versions. The first Python version was Python 2.x. The second Python version was Python 3.x. 2.x is no more supported by the community. Why? Because there were multiple things which the Python developers brought new in Python 3, but they wanted the support no more like they have not made it backward compatible. They made Python 3.x as a completely new version of Python. However, right now, if you talk the way Java works, Java, whenever you get an upgraded version, backward compatibility is always supported. But when you talk about Python 2.x and 3.x, 3.x does not support 2.x anything, and 2 does not support 3 at all. So that is a difference. So now going ahead, we will be only and only using Python 3.x. How and where can we download it? We can go to the Python's official website, simply click on download Python, save it up. It will take you, download it according to your operating system if you are using a Mac, Linux, or a Windows machine. So you can always scroll down and say, okay, these are the fixes. If you want to look for a specific release in 3.x version, you can scroll down, you can get these scripts. See, Python 2 was last supported till 2.7. June 2011. After this, there were no versions for Python 2.x. They clearly stopped the support. So this is how, once you download it, there will be a installation guide. In that installation guide, you have to just follow the basic steps, the basic customization steps. The only thing that you have to take care while installing Python in your system is that there will be a checkbox saying add to path. That option, you have to make sure that you select it. By doing it, you can go ahead and always, start using Python directly. It's Playwright with Python batch, right? Correct. It's Playwright with Python. So we will be coming to Playwright, but before that, we should have a context of what Python is, right? Why we cannot go for Python 4? I guess the latest version available in the market is Python 3.11.2. Abdul, can you rephrase your question? Okay, so it's okay. Python 4 is not available as of now, and as per the creators also, they claim that this will never arrive. They are going to take Python 3.x versions ahead always. So let's wait for the open discussion, whatever happens out there. So it's okay, cool. So once you install Python, like installing Python is only not enough. You also need an IDE. What is an IDE? IDE, everybody knows that it's integrated development environment, which helps us to write the code, which helps us to get suggestions if required. So in a layman language, you can say it helps you to code. It is a structured way of coding. That's it, you can say. The IDE which we are going to use in this course is PyCharm. Why PyCharm, Ashish? Why not? We cannot use Eclipse. Ashish, why cannot we use Visual Studio? So the answer is you can definitely use Eclipse. You can definitely use Visual Studio. The only thing is that you have to install separate environments for this. For Eclipse, you need to use PyDev, if I'm not wrong. For Visual Studio, also you need to install a separate environment to support working in Python. But when you talk about PyCharm, PyCharm is actually made to support Python as a programming language, as a basic default IDE for Python. Okay, so where and how can we download PyCharm? Simply if you go online and say download PyCharm, it's a JetBrains product. You open the website. Now, when you open the website, you see there are two versions. One is the professional version, another is the community version. So you can always go ahead and download the community version because that is, free of cost. It is, as mentioned, free, open source. However, if you talk about the professional version, it offers you a 30-day trial, and after that, it starts costing you. So it is, now the question comes, Ashish, when a person should use a professional version of this. So we say whenever you're going with more detailed development, if you say for Python, if you need Django support, support is used for creating APIs, API framework. So in that case, you use professional version. But for the need which we have as an automation tester, I believe community version helps enough. So you can go ahead and download it. It's a ask you save it, you get it. You have to just follow the basic installation steps, and it should be installed on your system easily. Which language is more compatible with AI, Java or Python? So I would like to say that we all know the answer for this, right? So just give me a second, guys. Yeah. So right now, the AI is more towards the Python programming language because Python gives, multiple different types of libraries which supports the neural network in deep. If you talk about such libraries can be NumPy. I am not sure if there are more, like that there would be thousands of different libraries, but right now machine language is more bended using Python as a basic programming language. Okay. Yeah, pandas, correct. All these can also be the libraries to be used for this AI development. Moving ahead, once we have PyCharm, so once we start the session, I'll create a video and give it to you for a step-by-step installation for how do we work with Python, how do we install Python, how do we install PyCharm, so that we are all on the same page. If after installation, so I was just trying this one, let me cross it. Let me also close the project. Let's say, okay, let me close it directly. So once you install PyCharm, so you get a screen like this. Welcome to PyCharm. By default, it will be giving you an option to, create a new project. You click on new project. You say Python Playwright. Simple. Now, when you write it, the options are new environment using virtual environment, or what, or you want to use a previously configured interpreter. So you want to create a new environment, or you want to use an existing environment. That is something very interesting to learn. So let's come to that topic before I move ahead. What we are saying is virtual environment. Anybody in the session knows what is a virtual environment? This is something very interesting, guys. Trust me on that. Anybody ever worked on this, heard about it? What is a V in virtual environment?
So hi Ashish. So virtual environment is something which is given to a particular project. So it is different from the base environment which we are going to install in our laptop. So it is different from the to project.
Correct.
Yes.
Let's try and understand this, maybe with the help of an example. I have a house. In my house, I have two gardens. One garden which, I want to grow a rose. I actually have two types of flowers. I have a rose, I have sunflowers. Now, I have right now one garden. If I go ahead and just grow roses and sunflowers in the same garden field, like both of these have flowers only. If I go ahead and directly grow them in a single field, what will happen? So we know that roses needs more water, more sunlight. When we talk about sunflowers, sunflowers need very less water and more shadow. Now, can you think that both of these flowers can be there in a single garden bed? The answer is no, right? Why? Because if you add more water for roses, it will destroy sunflowers. If you add less water to support sunflowers, it will destroy your roses. The same concept goes with virtual environment for Python. You have two different projects. Both of the projects needs Python. So here your home can be referred as Python. Roses as project 1, sunflower as project 2. Both the project needs the same home, the same garden, but they both have their own different requirements. They cannot be taken together as a single piece. Now, what to do in this case, Ashish? In this case, we will definitely divide the garden bed in two areas. One where we will be growing roses and getting the exact requirements and the roses, and one where we grow the sunflowers. Same way we work with the virtual environments as well. We divide virtual environment for every single project so that every single project have their own requirements and they do not overlap with any other project, which does not affects any other project. So this, okay, what is this virtual environment which we are saying? So in this virtual environment for a specific project, we save all the resources which we need to execute it. We save, suppose I need 10 different libraries for project A, I'll save them inside my virtual environment. But for project B, I need another different 10 libraries. I will download them and I will save them in the virtual environment of project B. That is how the virtual environments are being supported. So the same thing in this pop-up also is the PyCharm is asking you. Do you want to create a new virtual environment? Your answer will be yes. Like by default, it's yes. So we give a location. We say I want to use Python 3.10 for this. If you want to use any different version of Python, you can select it. Say you put 3.8 or any other version. If you want to, suppose I say, hey, only the difference is just to declutter it, everyone from a single thing. I'm just creating a new project. But I want all the libraries which were supported in project 1 to be in project 2 also. And I'm not going to install anything new. I can use a previously configured interpreter in that case. So this is how you can go ahead and take a selection. So by default, it's always creating a new VENV. You create it and it says creating a project and a folder called VENV is created for you. Now, as I said, that all your resources will be inside this folder. Where can I see them? You see Python 3.10 is installed in the bin folder of this virtual environment. Now going ahead, the n number of libraries you will be installing for this project will be shown here only. Is it clear to everybody? Yes, no, maybe. What is a VENV? Yes, no, maybe, guys.
Yes, it's clear. Ashish, thank you. It's a very good example.
Guys, please try to make this class interactive, because unless or until I'll get a focused response from you guys, it will be difficult for me also to go ahead with the same level of energy, continue. It's a to and fro, guys, so please make sure that we do connect at a point of time, right? So keep interacting, no matter whatever questions you want to ask, you ask it 1 time, 10 times, 100 times. I'll be happy to answer it 200 times also.
Ashish, in this, I'm having some doubt. So
Sorry?
suppose
Can you
I'm having
repeat?
some doubt. Yes, I'm having one doubt. So suppose we are having some project and we are having 2 persons which is working on that project, and they check out all the code in his or her laptop, and how they are maintaining the same virtual environment in 2 PCs. So do we have any like in Java we are having that? So if several people are working on a single project, then how they are maintaining the same virtual environment throughout all the PCs?
See, you say I installed 10 libraries in project 1 and this was done by person A. Now person B comes in picture. He downloads the project and just import it in the PyCharm. Now by default, libraries are not downloaded. Correct?
Right. Yes.
This is the exact behavior in Java as well.
Right.
When this user is creating this libraries in P1, since it is a collaborative project, what will this user do? He will write one command, or I'll come that command later. I'll just say he will create a file called requirement.txt. This file contains all the information for the above 10 libraries. When I say all the information, it contains the name of all the 10 libraries inside this one file called requirement.txt. Now here, one more question comes. Ashish, this person A was working on this project from last 1 year, and he has not created this requirement.txt. And also he has installed almost 50 libraries till now, and he's is still thinking to install 1 or 2 more. So should I go and check one by one that this is the library, I need to add this, this is another, this is another? Will it not be a tedious job to do? The answer is yes. To do that, we just write one single command saying pip freeze what in requirement.txt. What is this command? This command pip means, I'll come to pip later. I'm just saying freeze all the libraries inside this one file. Now, this project A, coming back to the original question, this person A created this file. It has all the libraries. Person B imports the project, simply writes pip install requirement.txt with an -r, saying it is a requirement file. That's it. Writing this single line will make sure that all the requirements which were there in project A are now also available in project, for user B, same project. Did I answer your question?
Yeah, yes. So we are only push this requirement into TXT in our repos, right?
Correct.
Okay. Yeah,
We push it, and Git will if you set up a Jenkins job, it makes sure that it runs at every single commit which you make. Like, it is up to you if you want to make it at a commit level or at what level. So it executes this command again and again to make sure our project is always up to date.
Okay, thanks. Clear to me. Yeah.
Clear?
Okay.
Great. Now, coming back, so what is this pip command, Ashish? You mentioned pip. Pip stands for Python. However, I should be later, but these guys thought that PPI is not good to sound. Pip is good to sound. It is Python. Python package index. Python package index. Yes. Pip. Now how it helps? With Python, it comes by default. Whatever you want to install, we use pip. If I want to install Selenium, I'll write pip install Selenium. Simple. It will install me Selenium. I want to install Playwright. I'll say pip install Playwright. Simple. By default, pip install always installs the latest available version. If we want to download a specific version, we write -v and the version number. Right? The same way you want to uninstall something, you say pip uninstall whatever your library is. Library name. Ashish, where do we get these commands from? I am new to this programming language. I don't know where to go and check. You can always go to the website pipy.org. You search here, you say, I want to download Selenium. Search here. It gives you different versions, different options. You click on it, it gives you an option saying, hey, you can do it using this command. Say, Ashish, I want to download pandas. It gives you these options. Go here, check the command. Ashish, I want to install NumPy. These are some machine learning things. Go here, check it. It will help you install these. I want to install Playwright. Search. It will come here. It says pip install Playwright. That's it. Latest version available is 1.30. That's it. So this is how the pip language helps you to understand. Clear to everybody till here? Yes, no, maybe.
Yes, Ashish.
Yes, that is clear.
There are almost around 30 students. Are others not able to connect? Is there a question you guys want to ask? Or is it not clear to you?
Yeah, clear it is. And what about the folder structure in Windows operating system?
It remains so. In Windows, you will be seeing another folder called script.
Okay.
So under the script folder, you get all the information.
Okay.
That's it.
Yeah, like in Java, we have created a Maven project, and we can add we after creating an Maven project, we have a pom.xml. So that thing will also we will see in this in Python also.
We don't have Maven in Python. We have this venv concept only. This requirement.txt file is always created at the root folder. So my root folder is Python Playwright. It will be always created at the same level. So let me also show you. Let's create a new Python file. I'll say demo. This is basic Python file. I'll say print hello world. That's it. You save it, you run it, it executes it for you. Hello world. Now you want to install something. I'll go to the terminal. I'll install pip install Selenium. Suppose. You see, it starts the downloading, completes the downloading. And if you go to the bin folder, you can somewhere see, okay, library folder. You can now here see the Selenium also being downloaded for you. Selenium 482 and so on. So that is the folder structure which we follow. In case of Windows, you can always see one more folder called script. Inside script, you see this bin folder. That is the difference.
Okay.
Yeah. So moving ahead, we have talked about Python a lot. We will be discussing in detail once we start the lectures. Let's talk about the elephant in the room, Playwright. Ashish, what is Playwright? Let me increase the font size. Just give me a second, guys. Okay, just a minute. Yeah, sorry. I don't know what is wrong with that. It's not increasing the font size. Let's talk here only. Huh. So does Playwright support web and mobile automation? Playwright supports web automation only. Currently, it does not support mobile automation. Mobile automation, when I'm saying, it means a mobile app, but it's a do supports mobile web automation. When I say mobile web automation, it simply means that um what do we like if you want to automate the Chrome browser or the Firefox browser inside your mobile, it do supports that side. Okay, coming. No, I tried this for Roop, Control Shift plus, it is not helping. I don't know why, what is wrong in there. The first question which comes to everybody's mind for Playwright, what is that first question? Ashish, how is Playwright different from Selenium? Correct?
Yes, exactly, Ashish.
That why should I prefer Selenium? Why should I not prefer why should I prefer Playwright when I have such an important tool like Selenium in the market? That is the first difference which comes to all of us mind, right? So before we start on that side, let's try and understand, what do you understand by what is Playwright? Anybody have like just checked it before? What is Playwright? Any suggestions? Please uninstall and tell me. Uninstall, I'm saying. Please unmute and tell me. What do you think is Playwright?
It's a product from Microsoft and does UI function part similar to Selenium.
And I think it has Node.js libraries. That's what I read about.
Okay. So in a very simple language, we can say that we can say, hey, Playwright is a software tool which allows developers or automators to automate the web browsers. Correct? Simple. Which allows the web developers to automate web browsers. Why am I not taking it in a more technical fashion? Because there is a lot of people in the team who are not so much compatible with the technical terms which we might use. So as we all just heard that, okay, before I come to on detail, my first thing is, why do we need it? And can anybody answer? Why do we need automation? What do you think is the need of automation here?
To get rid of the regressions, testing again and again.
Okay. Can we say, let's take an example. Imagine you're a chef and you want to make sure that your new recipe of cake tastes good before you serve it to your guest. That is a valid assumption, right? Now you could ask your friend to taste it and give you feedback, but you don't know, you don't want to bother them every single time you make a new cake. You can ask them one time, you can ask them two times, but every time you make a new cake, you cannot ask them to, hey, come and taste, hey, come and taste. So why don't you make a smaller version of that cake and call it as a test cake and taste it yourself every time and then serve it? That is what automation does for you. So doing a same task repetitively, right? Entering the data in the form, checking if it is working correctly or not. Doing it one time is okay. Doing it two times is okay. Doing it 3 times is okay, but somebody else can say, hey, for every single release, you need to do it for 10,000 users, 12,000 users. It is not possible. It is not a simple thing. So in that case, we need automation. So similarly, when developers create web application, they want to make sure that everything works correctly for their user. They could manually test their application by clicking around, trying different things, but this again can be time consuming and error prone at the same time. So instead they use any automation tool to test the process. This is where automation as a thing comes up. For this, you need node.js library. You need Node.js installed on your system because it is a node module. If you go to their official website, let's go to Playwright. Their official website tells that, hey, it enables reliable and end-to-end testing for modern web apps. What it offers, it says any browser, any platform, one API. This is their selling thing. Using this, they sell this tool a lot. What all comes, they say cross-browser testing supports all modern rendering engines, including Chromium, WebKit, and Firefox. Cross-platform, cross-language. So what all language does it supports right now? It supports TypeScript, JavaScript, Python, .NET, and Java. So right now it supports these options. For mobile web, for native mobile emulation, it supports Google Chrome for Android and Safari for iOS. The next thing they say is resilient, no flaky test. We'll come to these pointers once we understand it. Coming back, question comes, Ashish, how to install Playwright first? How to install Playwright? Correct. From where do we download it? From where do we install it? And a question, if we don't have Node available with us, how to download Node also? So if you can go to the Node's website, you can download it from there. It would be easy. For installing Playwright, you come to your terminal, write pip install Playwright. Hit enter. It starts collecting the information, it downloads it for you, and yeah, your work is done. We need Node.js library because Playwright is a node-based module. And to execute it, you need Node.js. Okay. They have used JavaScript for creating all these things. Now, when we are writing this pip install Playwright, Ashish, is there any other way also to do this? Yes. If you go to file, you go to, let's say, preferences. Can anybody see preferences here? Yeah, PyCharm preferences. Here you go to this your project, whatever your project name is, interpreter. You see all the available libraries. So what all you have installed till now in this project will be shown to you here. You installed Selenium, along with it some other tools installed. You installed Playwright, so that should also be shown here somewhere. Okay. So these are the different ways. If you want to install something from here, you can click on the plus button, search for whatever your need is. That's it. It will install it using the UI way. Same thing. Now, once you download this, you see they have written, these guys have also written one more thing. If you go to their official website. Right now, these are supporting the browsers called Chromium, WebKit, and Firefox. We'll start from the very first pointer. Any browser, any platform, one API. Is it true for Selenium also? Anyone? Okay, I am assuming most of us have already worked on Selenium here. How many of us has not worked on Selenium before? Using any programming language?
Not me.
Okay.
Not me as well.
Okay. So, okay, no worries. We will see the pain tomorrow for that. So right now you understand it like this. When you talk about Selenium, okay, answer me those who know about it. Selenium, how many browsers do we support? We support mostly all of them.
Almost all.
Correct? We support almost all. Basic question, okay? If I want to execute a test case on Chrome, what do I need?
Chrome driver.exe. If
You
we talking
answered me.
about Selenium 3 version.
Chrome driver.exe.
Yeah.
You want, go ahead.
Then we have a system.set property.
Okay, if we will leave that is an internal thing, code thing. I'm
Okay.
talking about external resources.
Okay, Selenium jar.
That is common, right?
Yes.
Now,
Selenium standalone server.
okay.
If Firefox is a Firefox driver, maybe EXE.
Yeah, if I want to execute it on, I'll say Firefox. What do you need?
Gecko
driver.
Yeah.
If you want to install it on Edge,
Yeah.
you need
Edge
driver.
Edge driver. If you want to install it on Safari, you want to test it on Safari. Now, you want some driver for that also. We'll leave it empty. You want to work it on Android. You want a specific thing. You want to work it on iOS. You want some specific thing. What I want to explain here is that for different web browsers, for different web browsers, you need a different API. You need Chrome driver for this, you need Gecko driver for this, you need Edge driver for this. For Opera, you need something else, and so on. What Playwright says, hey, right now I do support Chromium, Firefox, WebKit. WebKit is for Safari and Edge. Chromium, it directly does not support Google Chrome. It supports Chromium. It supports Firefox. It says that in the video which they launched, they said that they sold this line saying we do not need multiple support for multiple browser. We will only go ahead and take one API, and using that API only, we will be executing our test cases on all the browsers which we support. No more you need to install Gecko driver separately for Firefox, Edge driver separately for Edge, Safari driver separately for Safari. No. With Playwright, one command and all the supported drivers will be there. What command? It says Python -m Playwright install. That's it. Once you do this, it will install the different browsers which we are talking about. It installs me Selenium, it installs me Chromium, Firefox, and Safari WebKit. It does it automatically internally. Now, if we talk,
sir, sorry to disturb you. This command we will also execute in Windows, na?
Correct. Commands are nowhere changing.
Okay.
For wherever there will be a difference in Windows and other platforms, I'll let you know. But for commands, there are no difference in any platform. There will be same. Okay. Now, going ahead, once you install their so-called any platform one API using this command, now you will be with one single line only, you can use these. That this is one change which these guys said, that this is one thing due to which Playwright is better than Selenium. So if I say, how is Playwright better than Selenium? Point number one is support for single web API. Point number one. Point number two. The second point which they sell, I'll show a bit down. No trade-offs, no limits. Multiple everything. Browser run content belonging to different origins and different processes, blah, blah, blah. Test scenarios that spans multiple tabs. Just a second, guys. No? Sorry. The next thing which just a okay. The second thing which these guys support is the multi-browser. This is a very big change which Playwright brings when you compare it with Selenium. What is this multi-browser support, Ashish? Okay, what do you guys understand by the term? Selenium also has it, but how is it different? I'll tell you later. But what do you understand by multi-browser support?
Yeah, in Selenium we have a Windows handling. So how it is, better than a Playwright?
No, window handling is different. I'm talking about multi-browser support, Navas. Multi-browser is Chrome, Safari, Windows, Chrome, Safari, Firefox, like that.
Yeah, in TestNG we have a parallel execution.
Parallel execution is distributing your test cases across different browsers, right? You have 100 test cases, you distributed 33, 33, 34 in 3 browsers, but they are different. If you want to execute same test case, so that is it. Now, what makes a challenge for any company? You create a website. Let's take this way. I am a developer. I am an owner of an organization. I created a website. I want to make sure that whatever test cases I am writing, because I am a multi-support website, I want to make sure that my website is working perfectly fine for Firefox, on Chrome, on Android Chrome, on iOS Chrome, on Firefox, on Edge, on Safari. How do I do that? I need multi-browser support for that, right? Multi-browser support means executing same test case on different browsers. Parallel testing is different. Parallel testing is executing multiple browsers differently on different browsers. So how do we support multi-browser in Selenium right now?
I did actually I having confusion in parallel execution and multi-browser.
Tell me.
I think if I am not wrong, so parallel execution is a same thing in multi-browser. Because at a time.
Wait. Let's clear it. I have a test case which needs to verify, a basic test case needs to verify the about us page should be showing correct content as per so let's should show correct content. That's it. I want to execute, and similarly I have 50 more test cases. When you talk about parallel testing, okay, before I answer this question, anybody else wants to take this question? Anybody else wants to take the question, the confusion? What is the difference between parallel testing and cross-browser testing? Those who are aware about it.
So multi-browser testing is like we do the same test case, but in different browsers. So
Exactly.
it's the same test case, but
So
we are running in different browser. Like it can be run in, you know, like as we said, Firefox, Chrome.
correct.
We just want to make sure that it's running correctly on every browser.
Exactly. So suppose you have these 49 test cases and this parallel test, and you have the browsers as Chrome, you have Firefox, you have two different browsers with you. With parallel testing, what will happen? Chrome will execute 25 test cases. Firefox will execute 25 test cases, but both are different. Each test case is different because you have written it differently. When you talk about cross-browser testing, you have Chrome, you have Firefox. We say that Chrome will execute 50 test cases. Firefox will also execute 50 test cases. And both are same in nature. What is the use of cross-browser testing? It makes sure, I was taking this example. Now this About Us page can show properly with all the content, no breaking, nothing in the Chrome browser. But when you open it in Firefox, it might show some leakages. If you open it up in Android Chrome browser, it might not work properly due to unresponsiveness. So cross-browser testing is testing same test case on different browsers. Parallel testing is testing multiple test cases on different browsers. Am I clear? Yes, no, maybe?
Yes, it's good.
Nawaz, did I answer your query?
Yeah. Somehow I clear it.
So
remaining 25 test cases are not running in Chrome browser, right?
Correct. If you talk about parallel test cases. Parallel
testing can be achieved in, if say we have 1,000 test cases, we want to execute all of them.
पहले 500 Chrome पे चल गए, लास्ट के 500 Firefox पे.
That is something that, yeah, you can say.
Yeah.
We cannot.
बात के 500 cases हम Chrome में नहीं test करेंगे.
No, not exactly. That is cross-browser. That is what I'm trying to explain here, Nawaz. Okay. When you execute the same test case on different browser, it is cross-browser. When you execute it parallelly to divide the load and to make the execution faster, you go for parallel testing. That's it.
Okay, got it.
Yeah, Janki, you can go ahead. You're saying something.
So I was saying, like, it is not necessary that parallel testing means that we have to execute 500 test cases in one browser, the other 500 in another browser.
Yeah.
It can happen. It can happen that let's say we are using nowadays so many laptops, so many different things are there. We wanted to launch a website and the client wants to launch a website, and then they want to see that whether all the browsers it is functioning as expected, right? So then we have to try and then execute all our test cases in multiple browsers. So for that to happen, we will go with a cross-browser testing. When we have 1,000 test cases and we want to execute, let's say we are going with a cross browser and we want to execute all 1,000 in all the browsers. Like maybe we are choosing only 3 browsers or 4 browsers, then we will execute. But we will divide internally those 1,000 test cases in a parallel. Like we don't have to wait to complete all 1,000 in one browser. and then we continue with the next browser with the 1000 test cases,
Correct,
right?
correct, exactly.
So we can divide those test cases in a way that when one is working, we can divide the test cases for the rest of them. So that's kind of a parallel execution is a big concept, right? Like whether why we go with the parallel execution doesn't mean that we are not going to execute those test cases in another browser. It is like how we are dividing our memory and how we are going to execute them. We are to plan how we are going to do the execution. Parallel execution.
Also, on top of it, it also depends, Janki, that suppose your first 10 or 50 test cases were just one-liners or two-liners and they executed super fast, and then it does not make sure that the browser will stay idle for the next amount of time, and the remaining test case will keep on executing on the different browsers. So the load division is in such a way that, okay, once one browser is idle, you go there, another browser is idle, you go there, like that. So exactly correctly said what you just mentioned, but that is something more in detailed if you talk about. But here we are taking care of all the different levels of the student. So yeah. Can we run 25 test cases on one Chrome browser instance and another 20 on another window of same Chrome in the same computer? Okay, anybody would like to answer this question? So in short, what Abdul is trying to ask is that he wants to execute 25 test cases in tab A of Chrome and another 25 test cases in tab B of the same window Chrome. I'm correct, Abdul? That is okay. Anybody want to answer this question?
So is that means like running the same browser, right? From same Chrome browser. So
yeah,
it's like parallel testing with the same browser.
See, this okay. Anybody else wants to answer?
No, sir. Even I think it should not be allowed.
Janki, would you like to answer this?
No, I have not hands-on done, but what conceptually I can think of is like a parallel testing concept is not well clear with everyone, right? We are thinking that same browser I can use to multiple tabs and can I execute? When we are executing, are we running locally also? That's one of the
Janki, I understand, but
yeah, okay. Okay, then that's
so
fine. Yeah, good.
Answering Abdul's question, browser session is something which comes in place, right? Selenium has a very big flaw right now. Codes only one session at a time. When we say suppose only one session at a time, now just take an example of a test case. You all might have written test cases till now as before class, before test, background. We all at a point of time must have used these things. Why do we use them? We use them, suppose you have a test case on a website where the first thing is you log in, the second thing is you click on something, you add to cart, you check out. The second test case is you again log in because login is the basic functionality needed. So you go to another tab, you perform an operation, you complete it. The third test case says, okay, again log in, do this, do that. All the prerequisites we normally write in before class, test, background, and all these things, where we are writing the login thing, and in the test case we are only and only writing the flow. Correct me if I'm wrong till here. This is the current execution, right, everybody? Whosoever worked on it. Browser session says that at a point of time you can only use one session, and the moment you are out, you have closed the browser, the session also closes at the same time. So with that, that is the reason you need to again log in the next time you run the same test. You run another test case on the same website. That is the reason it always asks you again for a login, because the previous session was destroyed. So answering his question that 25 test case on one tab, 20 on another is definitely not possible, is what I believe. Rest research can definitely be done. We can come back and challenge this statement for sure. So are we clear on multi-browser support? How does okay, I was just telling that multi-browser support is there in Selenium, but using Playwright, these guys have made it to another level, which we will be definitely talking later in the session, that using single commands you can just move ahead for multi-browsers. But how do we do the same thing in Selenium? How do we do the same thing in Playwright? And you can see clearly the flaws in Selenium, the the good things, the pros in the Playwright. Another thing which these guys claim is faster. Not faster, they claim Playwright is very fast. When they say so, how is it? Like, what do they exactly change? What do they exactly change that makes it faster? Selenium is also a very fast thing. We need to apply wait to let the things load. But these guys are claiming that they are even faster in terms of execution as compared with Selenium. Let's take a very good example in this case. There are two things. There are two things in case of Playwright. One is called Synchronous API. Synchronous, let me just check. Synchronous API. Another one is asynchronous. I'll just copy paste. What is the difference? Synchronous APIs and asynchronous APIs. Let's take an example to understand both of them. All of us have must visited a restaurant, correct? In the restaurant, the waiter comes at your table. Now just imagine the scenario if this would be the work. If the waiter comes at your table, takes your order from you, gives it to the chef in the kitchen. Now he waits for the chef to complete the dish. Once the chef completes the dish, he hands it over to the waiter. The waiter then brings it back to you. That is the flow, correct? Assume the same thing when you write a test case. Log in to a page, click on About Us. You say, let's say, what else we can write here? Okay, let's say you go to a login to a page, you click a button, you take a screenshot, and you close the browser. That's it. What I did, I went there, I clicked on that button, and I took a screenshot. Isn't it the same thing which we just discussed for the waiter thing? The waiter comes to you at a point of time, he takes an order, he executes the order, then it moves to the next line. It takes the order for the next customer, he gives it to the chef, he completes it, he moves to the another customer. He takes the order, he gives it to chef, returns the delivery, moves to another order. So what you are understanding with this? It is a synchronous thing. One line at a time is executed. Once you get the result, immediately the next action performs. Immediately the next action performs. immediately the next action performs and the loop continues. This is the exact same behavior in Selenium in the current version, as well as in the synchronous version of Playwright. This is the same thing. But when we talk about the asynchronous behavior, do we see the same behavior in restaurants when we go? The answer is no, right? The same waiter takes your order, takes Abdul's order, takes Nawaz's order, takes Janki's order, takes Sona's order, and at collecting everybody, he dumps it to the chef. Once the chef gets it, the chef returns the order to the waiter, and the waiter one by one returns it to everybody. So was the previous approach better to get the order faster, or is the new approach better to get the order faster? Answer me, guys.
The first one.
The first one, okay.
Synchronous is better because it allows the chef to prepare the enough time and make sure he brings the bag of food on the table.
Others, but Somraj, just imagine you are in the queue. There are 10 more members in front of you, and they ordered something very big. It will take a lot of time for them, and unless their execution is completed, it will not come back to you. So imagine yourself standing in a queue in a restaurant. Your order will not be given to you unless the person in front of you gets his or her food. So will you wait for enough time in a restaurant for your turn that, okay, first let the first 5 people get their food, let them eat, then only I'll go inside. You will say what? Hey, take their order, take my order, and deliver it whosoever is ready first. Correct?
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah,
then which one is faster?
Yeah, asynchronous then. Yeah.
What about others?
Asynchronous, yeah, it shows that it is faster.
Correct. So Python, this Playwright also supports this asynchronous version. According to the asynchronous version, you can perform multiple tasks at a same point of time. Let us take one more example. If you're trying to wash utensils, there are 50 utensils. Now you say that I'll first wash, apply the soap on a utensil, I'll wash it, I'll rinse it, I'll keep it back in the rack, then I'll move to another utensil. Will that be a faster approach, or washing them all together, rinsing them all together, keeping them all together is a faster approach? Definitely the second one, right? The same works. This is why they claim that, hey, Playwright is very fast because they are using the asynchronous API. The question comes, Ashish, how, when, and where do they use it? That we will be discussing in the sessions. But am I clear to everybody what is synchronous support and what is asynchronous support? Yes, no, maybe, guys. Please, all of you.
Yes, very clear.
Yes.
Everybody.
Yes.
Okay, we'll go into more details later, but I want to show you some more great capabilities. Okay, what are you confused in, Swaroop? Can you unmute yourself and go ahead?
Hi, Ashish, can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm able to hear you.
Yeah, so first of all, let's differentiate between what is synchronous and asynchronous, and then we'll discuss the examples. Because synchronous is my understanding is synchronous is doing many things in one go. Asynchronous is doing it one by one, but maybe I'm not right here. So let's first of all understand the meaning of synchronous. What do we mean by synchronous? And then go at the example.
Let's do one thing. Let's connect, since we will be connecting tomorrow again. So I'll prepare a slide on this. Right now, I don't have a slide on this to explain it in detail. So I'll prepare a slide, and tomorrow we can discuss on it more. Perfect.
Okay, no problem. No problem. Also, the first point I did not understand. Support for single web API. What do you mean by that?
So right now in Selenium, you go ahead and you download Chrome driver, you download Gecko driver, and you need to get multiple types of driver support, right?
Yes.
But when you talk about Playwright, they say we don't need separate drivers for separate browsers. We will be using the same thing. We will be using the one single API for all the different types of browsers. When I say one single API, I'll show you tomorrow in code also that, hey, this is where these guys are saying one single API. So this will make more sense once I give you an example of the code. Okay.
Thank you so much.
Okay, before we go ahead and end the session, we have a couple of minutes more. Let's say I want to show you one important functionality which this says, which this supports. You say Playwright, you say code gen, and let's give any website. Let's give the website as google.com. Copy the link. Let's say google.com. Copy the link. I paste it and I run it. What happens now? You guys can see there are two windows opened. One is this window and another is this window. This is my Playwright code, which it automatically writes for me. I am not doing anything here. And this is the real-time browser which helps me to write things. Now, just see what happens in the previous window. I go and search for Isha Foundation. Let's say I'm just searching for Isha Foundation. I click on the first link. I click on allow. Let's click on first link. This is a website which just opened. I go back in the Playwright Inspector. You can see you clicked here, you added this, you clicked enter, you clicked this, and I close it. I'll just copy my code because I do not want anything extra. I'll copy it. I'll close the inspector. Let's create a new file. Test _1. I paste it here. You see, it says I'll explain code line by line tomorrow, that how is it doing and what is it doing. Right now, this playwright.sync API is the synchronous version we are using. I'm saying that you're using XYZ things. Let's not waste time in understanding this. We will understand it tomorrow in detail. How do I run it? I'll say I run it. I'll say Python test1. I hit enter. See, it goes here. It searches for Isha Foundation. It is not able to click on that allow button because it is not finding that allow button. If I'm correct, right? So what will happen in that case? Let me just open back. That is why it is waiting. It will time out after 30 seconds automatically. So we will do one thing. We will remove that. Okay, is anything else changed? Okay, see, it says waiting for the link official website of Sadhguru Isha Foundation. It was not able to find the website. Why was it not able to find the website? Let's check. Just a second. Okay, let's search for Playwright instead, and we will again start the code inspector. I say I go here. You search for Playwright, and I click on the first website. That's it. I'll come back. I'll copy, close. For the time being, I'm just writing here, and let's execute the test case. It comes, searches, it is not able to click on this. We need to check why is it not able to click on it. Either it is not able to find the link or some other item, but no worries. I'll do one thing. To show you things, I'll remove this line for the time being. Let's execute the test case again. So it's just Playwright, and the execution happened super fast. Now, this is one great tool which these guys support called CodeGen. With the help of this CodeGen thing, you guys can open the inspector, you guys can record on live streaming kind of thing, you can say. With the Go, you will be recording your code and it automatically writes it for you. Along with it, we also have an option to, let me go back to their website. I'll say Playwright Python. There is the official website. These guys have something called Trace Viewer. This is a very, very good functionality which I would like to show you guys. Trace Viewer says, just add this line. Suppose we will discuss in detail tomorrow. So when we start the context, we write it. And when we end the context, we write it. Now I again execute the same code. Let's see what will happen. It opens my Chromium browser, it searches, it closes it immediately. You see there is a new file called trace.zip created. If you execute this specific command, it is same for all the machines, no difference. You show this is what magic these guys have created. You can see a real-time screenshot of what is happening. See, it says it comes to Google, it searches for Playwright, and yeah, the rest case completes. If you want to see click, the red dot you are seeing, it says here you clicked. You want to show what was the code, where is my code at this point of time, at this point of time, at this point of time, line by line. For each and every single line, you will have a live trace. On top of it, it is not only live trace, it actually works also. If I say Playwright Python, if I want to change it, will it change? It says, yeah, you can do it runtime. It is responsive. So this gives you, so this is before, this is after. So you want to check after executing my specific line, what happened, what action did with it, what was the before screen, after clicking, what was the screen. Similarly, what was the before screen, then I clicked on the search, this opened. What was before, nothing, I have not written anything, then I have written Playwright. So this trace viewer helps you a lot to debug your test case. This is a great thing which these guys have created for the debug functionality in Playwright. Similarly, there are multiple more things, more surprises which Playwright brings up in, we will discuss them slowly and gradually. Any questions till now, anybody? Related to course, anything? First of all, I would like to understand, was the session informative and interesting?
Yeah, Asis is very much informative because I joined late, like almost half an hour. So I just want to ask you questions like, when this session gonna be, next session? I mean, what is the schedule of this class from next time?
So initially, we are going to have a combined batch for Python. There will be almost like whatever the number of classes there will be, we will have a combined batch for Python. Once we are done with Python, we will divide the sessions into Playwright and Selenium individually. So whosoever wants to attend whichsoever session, they are always welcome there.
Okay.
Yep.
The timing will be Saturday same time, 8 p.m.
No, timings I would like to understand from the audience available here. We are proposing the time like what we have decided depending upon the inputs we have received from the students is 8:30 a.m. in the morning IST for the initial session, and then the second session when we will be dividing it, it will be starting from almost 10:30 IST. The discussion is still open.
So
AM, right?
I'm actually
AM. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
okay. AM. Okay. Okay. Because I'm about to go. Java classes are done. We are just getting ready for the Selenium classes. So if okay, I think with this like two timings will work to come
Yeah.
for Python as well as Selenium. Okay, thank you.
No, first we have for Python, first 10 lectures, whatever we have. Then we divide
Yeah,
the
but I
first
have
batch for Playwright, the second.
there was a batch
Mhm.
which the Java batch, the core Java batch got completed. We are just waiting for this week and next week. Rahul sir was saying that there will be a Selenium batch which will be started next week onwards.
Yep.
Okay, so yeah, so if I want to come for a Python and a Selenium, that will work because if it's timing is different, it is good.
Correct, correct.
Okay, thank you.
So yeah, we will like convey the timings maybe by tomorrow end of the session, whatever final timings we do have. So yeah, anything else?
One more question,
Yeah.
Ashish, because we are just comparing between Selenium and Playwright.
Playwright.
Why don't we also compare it with Cypress as well?
Sorry?
Why don't we also compare it with Cypress as well? You know, if we compare three tools, Cypress, Selenium, and Playwright.
Cypress. So then Puppeteer also comes in picture, right? So we should add Puppeteer as well. It's
Yeah, maybe.
it's a long list, Swaroop. So it will be it's kind of a difficult task to understand, and more than like it's not difficult for me to explain, but to keep a track. Okay, this works in Cypress, not in Selenium, not in Playwright. This works in Selenium and Cypress, not in Playwright. This works in Playwright,
Okay.
Cypress and you say this Puppeteer, but not in Selenium. That is difficult. I can definitely take a lecture to explain one table with mention and things mentioned, this works here, does not, but it becomes difficult for you to consume it, understanding it now. So
Yeah.
that's why we have not kept it, we have made it limited.
One more silly question.
Yeah,
I would
go
like
ahead.
to ask.
I always
Yeah.
like silly questions, like they're my favorite. Tell me.
Thanks for your courtesy. Okay, just to ask, for example, because we are at a very interesting cusp of automation history, because now the talk is about chat GPT and machine learning, artificial intelligence. So I mean to say, a few years from now, we will be talking to the AI, right, as to how to devise the automation and automation framework. You get that, right? So I mean to say, because now we are also going to learn Python. So is this just the beginning of the learning for data science, machine learning, and AI?
Are you using so sort of just I'll be also asking you back a silly question now.
Yes.
How do you drive?
Yeah.
If you want to drive from place A to place B, what is the best way you use? Do you use Google Maps?
Sometimes.
Your life is already controlled by AI, right?
Yeah.
So the same thing happens on this thing. So you might be hearing news that Google is also going to launch a competitor for ChatGPT as Bard.
Yeah,
They are
yeah.
maybe in a couple of months down the line, and few years later another organization comes, hey, we are more powerful than Bard. Just tell me, would you be buying as a what do you say, as a consumer I'm talking about, would you like to purchase something which is very common and very easily available with everybody, Or would you at the same time, so there are two shops, take it like that. One shop gives you instant results. Another shop, let's take about example of nail art. The girls do nail art, right? The first shop does the nail art in couple of minutes. You go there, you get it done fast. The second one does it using his own skills, using their own hand. Which one would you be preferring standing in the queue in front of both of these shops? Answer me honestly.
First.
You will be
First.
going for the first one, for the faster one, right?
Yes.
What, just assume at a point of time at a day, the person who created the first shop was the person who is at the right side, because the skill set which the right side person have, only that skill set were able to be automated by the first one. So we can say the birth was given by the first one only. Going ahead, if that person have a skill set, he creates more new things which the AI does not have till now. So my point, my approach here is that skills is what matters. No matter how many AI tools comes in market, no matter whatever XYZ functionality they are able to do. But unless or until you have a skill to work on a particular item, you're always leading the market. That is my personal opinion. Can definitely.
That's a good answer. I'm just trying to figure out for
Yeah, that is
whatever that
my
we are going to
personal opinion
learn
on
now.
this. It can definitely differ from head to head, right? Yeah.
Yes. So I was just trying to figure out that whatever we are going to learn now, it will be valid for how many years? Because skill sets can easily become obsolete.
Skills never retire, Saru. Skills never retire. Can you come back and say, hey Ashish, what I learned in class, second class, fifth class, eighth class, 10th is no more applicable in my life? You say no. Skills never
Well, I can
retire.
tell. Well, again, I can share my own example. I started my career as a mainframer, and the mainframer, and at that time I used to do coding with COBOL. So COBOL is dead now.
Correct.
Right? COBOL is dead now. At that time, I did not in my wildest dreams, I never thought that one day I would be learning something about Python and Playwright. I never thought. The COBOL was everything to me. It was in English language. It was. I did not feel it that complex like C, right? But things change. Things change rapidly.
Correct.
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. I would say.
See, for
Yeah,
now,
my
your experience was different because it was a completely different language. But when we are talking about a couple of years ago in this domain, as in the initial lecture we just discussed, like AI is completely dependent upon Python. So removing Python, definitely no. You cannot even imagine removing Python out of the market and bringing out a new AI technology. Hey, this is based on a new technology, writing, exactly impossible. You cannot replace Java, you cannot replace Python ever. I'm straightforward saying that even Java cannot be replaced by Python, even Python cannot be replaced by any other programming language coming in the market. But you never know the future, right? There can be anything. Again, you never know it.
We keep learning about Julia and Kotlin. I still don't know as to how they are going to impact the market. Yeah.
Correct.
But anyways, that's a good answer. Yeah. Thank you so much.
So any questions more?
Hi, I have got a question, sir. I'm Ahmed. I completed core Java and Selenium with Rahul, and then after I moved to DevOps. So DevOps is almost done. So meantime, I got this what do you call link from, and I decided to do what do you call register, and yeah, half of the class I didn't attend, but honestly, just would you mind just give me a little bit guidance or something? So which path will be better? Because I'm totally in different field. I work in a different field, so I'm trying to get into this IT sector, like in testing.
So your exact question is, what is better?
Questions
Python
is like
Java?
this is two sessions, kind of like is what do you call this? Is Playwright with Python will be better, or Selenium with Python? Which batch I will be?
Ahmed, Playwright is a competitor for Selenium, both of them shares the same thing. The difference is which one is more robust, faster. Playwright is a new technology in the market. Again, I'm repeating the same thing. It is not having as much community support as we compare with Selenium Python. Selenium Python exists in market from such a long time now. But Playwright, I say, even if you go to the Google Microsoft website, these guys have shared a chart. As per the chart, the maximum number of downloads for Playwright was done in 2022. So if you want to start on something, you are saying you want to enter the market, I would like to recommend you go ahead with Selenium Python. Once you are done with it, shift to Playwright to understand that what were the flaws you got in Selenium Python that were overcome when Playwright came into the picture. Got it?
Yes, yes. Okay, so then, so there will be two batches, right? One will be,
initially, Python
join.
batch will be same. Once Python is completed, we will be dividing the batch into two parts.
So that then I can continue with the what do you call it? Python, right?
Yeah, initially. Yeah.
Oh,
Initially,
okay.
When Python is there, I suppose Python would be there for almost 8-10 classes. Then once we are done with it, we will separate.
How long? Sorry,
8 to 10 sessions.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And then we divide it with Playwright as a separate batch, Selenium as a separate batch.
Okay. Yeah, it will be in India 8 o'clock, right? Evening, right?
That timings are not yet decided. We will communicate the timings tomorrow.
So all the sessions will be on
a little bit in other side. That's why I'm asking.
Sorry,
I'm not in India. So.
Yeah, I understood. We will let you communicate the timings. For tomorrow, the batch will be at the same time, 8 p.m. IST. But from the next week, we will be communicating the session timings.
Thank you for.
Go ahead, Surup. You were asking something.
No, I mean, so sessions will be always on weekends, right?
Yeah, always on weekends.
Okay, so how will you communicate?
WhatsApp group there is, no?
Email address. Sorry?
There is a WhatsApp group available. So if you contact Rahul will add you in the WhatsApp group over there. Maybe in the next session, I'll share my email address and phone number as well to all of you. You guys can freely communicate to me.
I'm still not in the WhatsApp group. Sorry about it.
It's okay. I'll share you my number and things tomorrow session.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So tomorrow it will be in morning or in the same timing?
Tomorrow same time. No difference.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So
any questions? Anybody more? Yeah.
So we have a Java batch also in 8 time.
Same time tomorrow.
Okay.
Yeah.
Tomorrow we have another batch also, right? Like a demo, which is Selenium with Python.
That is mine only. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So today we covered a bit of Playwright. Tomorrow we'll be covering a bit of Selenium with Python. How does that works?
Okay, got it. Thank you.
Yeah.
Then we have a different time. Either we can go for both or either we can go for one.
Yeah. Once we are done with Python batches, then we have two different timings. Okay. So whosoever is interested in whichsoever course can join that.
Yeah, sure. May I know your good name, sir?
Ashish.
Ashish. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Welcome. So was it clear to everybody whatsoever was taught today, a bit of it? I am sure that it was not completely consumed, but it was not boring, at least for me.
No, introduction class is good. We all enjoyed. I can at least say for myself.
Yeah. Would like to hear from others also. See, I'm always open for feedback. If you guys feel, hey, Ashish, you are going slow, we'll pace up. If you feel, Ashish, you are going fast, we'll slow down. It's very
I like it, Ashish. I like your example a lot. You give a very clear examples. That makes me understand everything. Thanks a lot.
Sir, I want to add one more thing. After 5 days, we have a class like in Saturday, Sunday. And as we all are working professionals, so there is a time crunch in between weekdays.
Mhm.
So I think it should be of we can like we can synchronize it in a different way, or we can adjusting weekend weekdays also, because after a 5 days we have a class and there is a gap of 5 days, so it becomes sometime.
See, Nawaz, that is clearly not possible because each and every individual in the group will have their own commitments towards their own organizations, which we cannot challenge at all. So probably would be, comparatively high for me, low for you, high for you, low for me. So that is something which we cannot, challenge. So we can definitely make sure that everybody's free and their own willingness, they are joining this. So not a problem. So weekdays would be a difficult thing for sure. Weekends, yes. Don't worry, I'll keep you busy in these 5 days. I'll be giving you posting some assignments, so
Yeah,
you
yeah,
have to
sure,
complete it.
sure,
So
sure.
you'll be busy in the 5 days.
Yeah. 5 दिन के बाद थोड़ा ऐसा लगता है कि यार काफी गैप आ गया है. That's the
Yeah,
thing.
I understand. Worry not. Chalo, guys. If anyone has any more questions. Chalo, then it was a good session. It was a good audience. I enjoyed it. We'll connect tomorrow at the same time for the demo session 2. And from next week, we'll kickstart with Python.
Thank you so much, sir. Very informative.
Ashish, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Thank
Bye. Bye,
you.
everyone.
Bye-bye. See you
Bye.
guys. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye bye.